Welcome to the talkSPORT YouTube channel for the Super Over. Jarrod Kimber here with global all-rounder leg spinning legend Cameron Steele. We're going to talk about the Sri Lanka-England game. Let's start with something a little bit controversial. Joe Root is good at cricket.
Thought you'd never bring it up. He was magnificent today, wasn't he? Just a masterclass in how to play spin, moving backwards, forwards, and he bowled the 50th over as well.
Death bowler, right?
Death bowler, all the things. Rayan Ahmed bowling the 49th and opening the batting, and then Joe Root bowling the 50th, and then just doing what he usually does with the bat and saying, shock horror, playing it late works.
It's interesting, isn't it? It was a very tough wicket to play spin on, but Root still looked absolutely fine when everyone else struggled. There is a different level of being able to play spin that Joe Root has attained.
Yeah, it's unfair really on everyone else. He just played it so beautifully in defence and attack and just working around it. I think the key was his sweep shots, but both reverse and conventional, all along the ground. We saw the Sri Lankans get out a little bit with slog sweeps, and Joe Root was just a class above.
Harry Brook has said that it was the worst wicket he's ever played on. Have you played on worse wickets, or has Harry Brook played on worse wickets? Because to me, it was a difficult wicket, but I didn't think it was the worst.
I played in the Northeast Premier League, so yeah, definitely played on some worse wickets.
So similar?
Similar, yeah. Look, I wouldn't read too much into what Brookie said there. He's who doesn't like a bit of hyperbole every now and then. But I think he's just chatting as though he's in the change room. That will not be the worst wicket he's ever played on. Joe Root and Harry Brook himself showed that they could get in and get runs, and they batted England to victory. So, yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it. But, yeah, great win for England. Weird to say. The only thing I would say is it's a weird thing to say, given that England have won their first game away from home in, 12, 13 games? But, yeah, it's okay. I think a few people will have a bit of fun with it in the media.
Jeffrey Vandersay, the Sri Lankan spinners completely outbowled England in the first game. In the second game, they didn't, except for Jeffrey Vandersay. I thought he bowled exceptionally. I know you're obviously a leggy yourself. In both the games, he's been completely in control of what he's done. He just probably hasn't got the wickets that his bowling has deserved.
Yeah, he was wonderful. He was on par with Adil Rashid today for me. The way he mixed up his pace and those two got the most purchase out of the wicket. He deserved more than he got. I think it was two wickets.
2 for 30?
2 for 30, yeah.
2 for 45 maybe? I can't remember in the end.
Which is obviously a wonderful performance. But I'm always in awe of guys like Jeffrey Vandersay and Adil Rashid with the control, guile and temperament that they both share.
There are also, Vandersay's very good at mixing up his pace, so he will bowl, he basically has three deliveries, a big leg spinner, and regular stock leg spinner, and then obviously the wrong and he mixes up the pace between the three of them quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the wrong / top spinner that got Harry Brook out. It just looked as though he kept Harry Brook at bay for long enough, bowled so many dots that it did allow him to bowl that wrong and tempted Brookie into the sweep shot, which led to his ultimate downfall.
The other interesting thing about today is that England spinners outbowled Sri Lanka. We know this isn't Sri Lanka's full strength spin attack, so we have to remember that. But I thought that England spinners didn't give as many balls. They didn't allow the kind of pressure to dissipate the way that Sri Lanka did. And that includes Bethel and Will Jacks and Joe Root as a death bowler, Rayan Ahmed. It's not like we're just talking about Dawson and Rashid here. I thought as a unit they did very well together.
Yeah, I think Harry Brook made some great captaincy decisions in changing the bowlers. We saw 4 bowlers in 4 overs, yeah. I think between overs 8 and 12. But everyone stepped up and played their part. I thought Will Jacks bowled really nicely, and Rayan Ahmed bowled beautifully in the last 10 as well. Liam Dawson speaks for himself. He just quietly performs. He's gone at 3 and over again, or 3, 4 and over. And everyone was just completely accurate. Will Gallagher obviously got the Man of the Match award in the last game on Thursday. And he wasn't quite as good as he was today. But yeah, I think that the English guys as a unit all worked brilliantly together and just kept taking wickets. And so Sri Lanka could never really build a proper partnership to get them to maybe the 240, 250 that they might have needed to defend against England.
Just the last thing, that Sri Lanka also gifted a lot of wickets, I felt here. Look, it's a tricky wicket, so you don't want to say, but big sweeps, driving with their bat miles in front of their body and everything. It did feel like England was a little bit more, and this is going to sound weird, disciplined than the Sri Lankan batting.
Yeah, it's so easy to say from here when we're sat in.
It's much easier for me.
And it was an incredibly tough pitch, but I think
it's also easier when you're chasing because you know you're chasing 220, whereas Sri Lanka were trying to set 250.
Yeah. But I think, like we said before, Joe Root said at the end about playing the ball late and keeping it on the ground. There were just probably too many dismissals that Sri Lanka wouldn't have been too happy with. There was the run out of Kusal Mendes as well. A few caught on the boundary. Just dismissals that they'll look back on and think, I'd probably rather do something different. Is almost flipped around from Thursday's game, where England were much sharper today, much sharper in the field, sharper with the bat, sharper with the ball, and ultimately led to a pretty convincing victory in the end.
Definitely. We'll be back for the third game here on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. This has been the Super Over.